Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? Welcome back, or welcome for the first time if you're new here. My name is Amy and I love playing with makeup. I love indie makeup specifically, but here on my channel I just want to have a good time with y'all, and I thought today it'd be fun to do a get ready with me, just playing with some makeup that's in my collection and also talking about the things that other YouTubers do that I judge them for. And I know it sounds really petty, but I promise that these all have really good reasons. I don't consider myself a judgmental person. I'm very much just like you do you kind of vibes, but there are certain things that get to me and I thought it could be a fun video. If you want to be a little chismoso with me, then let's just go ahead and jump on in. Y'all, this video also has a little bit of a challenge to it because I packed all of my favorite makeup in my makeup bag to go take passport photos, and I left my makeup bag in my boyfriend's car. So I basically had to replace everything that I have been using recently for my staple makeup routine. So on the bright side, I am switching things up, but on the sad side, like, I'm missing products already. But I'm just gonna go into the Auric Glow Lust in the shade Morganite. This is the old one, but I just thought I could use this as my primer today. Typically, I just go in with my face moisturizer, but it's in my makeup bag. Let me just tell you what I'm going to put on my face next before we jump into the list. So I'm going to use the LYS Triple Fix Serum Foundation because I love this. I haven't used it in a while. I have the shade LG1, and then I was like, may as well just pull out the LYS Concealer. I saw Angelica raving about this recently, and I used to really love this, but again, I haven't reached for it in a while, so I was like, perfect moment. Again, shade LG1, but this one is like basically the same shade as the foundation. It doesn't really add any brightness for me, so I also pulled out the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in the shade 01 Cool Ivory, which I'm gonna mix so that we can have a little highlighted cute under eye moment. So one of the things that I judge other YouTubers for, or just other influencers in general, it doesn't matter the app, I cannot stand this no matter what, it is undisclosed ads. And I just feel like at this point it is just so obvious when someone is doing an undisclosed ad. And honestly, I feel like in the beauty community, it's pretty good. Like, I know sometimes people do undisclosed ads. I'm not saying that they don't, but I've just noticed from following and like diving into some of the other industries out there are a lot of sponsor posts that have no transparency at all. And I actually follow someone who I went to high school with. I mean, we were not close, not friends, anything like that. I just know who she is because she's from the same hometown as me. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like, she's out here getting it. But y'all, I'm telling you, I've never seen someone post so many undisclosed ads. I don't even know that I really need to explain why this one bothers me so much. It's obvious. I just feel like, why lie to your audience? Why not be transparent? I would just personally rather someone be upset with me any day saying like, why are you doing so many sponsored posts or something like that, versus like lying to your audience and not being honest that a brand is paying you to speak about them. And the funny thing about this list is that like, I am not a person who comments like negative things on anyone's post ever. Like, I do not leave negative YouTube comments, Instagram comments, DMs, nothing. Like, that is just not me. I don't feel like it's my place. Like, I honestly keep that to myself. But this is one of those things where like, when I see it, I'm just like itching to comment. Like, come on, be honest. So the next thing that I definitely judge people for is showing too much of their house, specifically like their home from the outside, giving too many details about where they live, what they live near, or especially if you just bought a home and then you immediately post about it, because y'all, you do not have to be a detective to find out where people live. Like, if you know the city that they live in and then they post that they bought a house and they post even just the door, you can literally find out their address with very minimal work. And that's like, I feel bad even saying like I'm judging you for doing this, but it's like a judgment in like a like, ooh, like I wish you weren't doing that, like just because it feels a little bit naive. And I know personally, like I have always been extremely careful about not showing outside of my house. Like, I don't care if people like want to like say that I'm like worrying too much or like I'm too anxious. Like, there are just weirdos out in the world, and as much as I love you guys and I love the conversations we have, and like I feel like we've made so many genuine connections, you just don't know everyone who's watching your videos or what their intentions are. I talked about this a long time ago that I had someone try to break into my house, and I did get a few comments of y'all like saying like, do you post things outside? And I'm like, I really don't ever, but it's just such a scary experience that I wouldn't wish on anyone, especially if you have a family and you have kids, and like, I cannot help but cringe and judge when I see people post outside their house. I'm like, please, please delete it. I'm just gonna like roast myself for a second because like I just feel bad like judging everyone else, and I feel like we should just judge me for a minute. One of my biggest pet peeves that I do on YouTube is that I promise videos and I'm like, I'm gonna do this video, and then I never post it or I never get around to filming it. That is so annoying, and I feel like if someone deserves to be judged for something, it's definitely me for that. I'm gonna use the Kosas 8th Muse blush duo. I'm just using the brighter pink. I'm just gonna add a little pink blush moment. I'm sad because my new obsession has been the Honey Thief blush from Melt, but it's not here with us today. So this next one might be a little controversial because I can definitely see how people would view it from different ways. And even I can kind of fight both sides just a little tiny bit. But one of the things that I judge for, just a tiny, tiny smidge of judgment, is for people who are doing paid work for free on YouTube specifically. I understand working with a brand if you really love them and you feel like the opportunity is worth, you know, it has value even without being paid. But the problem is just that there's people who are willing to do the work for free. And it's just frustrating because I feel like it gives brands the audacity to reach out and demand like full dedicated videos with this, and that, and a guideline, and literally no budget whatsoever. Like, I am all about accepting PR and giving everything an honest shot, but it's just when brands are wanting like specifically curated videos and they just are not willing to pay for it, it's like, I almost feel like we should be like standing in solidarity together. Like, no, like, I worked really hard on my channel. I worked really hard to grow it. I work really hard every time I sit down and film and when I edit and when I put my heart into it, and I'm not gonna do that for free. But then I feel like if someone else accepts that work for free immediately, then it basically just devalues everyone as a whole. Does that even make sense? I don't know. I'm not gonna like sit here on a soapbox or anything, because I mean, I've done it in the past. And I do have regrets about it because I was like, why was I doing all of that for a brand for nothing? I don't know. I really, really don't. Let me just tell you guys what I'm using for my eyes really quick so we can keep chatting. I have the Milani eyeshadow primer, so I'm just gonna use that to prime. And then my plan here was I pulled out my Pat McGrath palette. I cannot remember what the name of this is. It's literally the death of me that this palette does not have the name written on it, but it's the neutral, like cool toned one. I'm obsessed, so pretty. I wanted to dip into that for the mattes, but I was thinking I could pull in the shade Generous from the Glamnatrix Glamorous palette. This one right here, because when I swatched it, it was so stunning and I've been dying to use that all over the lid. So I thought it might be a little cute combo. So the next thing that I judge other YouTubers for is a specific phrasing, and it's when they're talking about products that are more like affordable, more like drugstore pricing, and they use the phrase like, oh, this is good for the money, or like, this is good for $5, this is good for $7. And the reason why that bugs me just a little bit is because I feel like as consumers, no matter what the price point is, we deserve to know whether it is a good product, and not just for like the low price. Like, if you're gonna recommend me a bronzer, right, that's $5, is it really a good bronzer, or is it just a good bronzer if you only have $5? Is it worth spending money on genuinely, or is it worth saving up for something else? I don't know, because sometimes the phrasing like gets mixed together and I can't really tell what the actual vibe is, because there's definitely products that I've tried and it was like, oh yeah, this is so good for the price. But then when I got it, I was like, I guess, if you only had $5 to spend on a bronzer and you had extra time to blend it out and you could make it work and you didn't mind it being a little bit muddy, but you only had $5, like, yeah, I guess this bronzer would do. Versus like, damn, this is genuinely a good bronzer. It's good for being $5, but it's just good. Period. The end. I also feel like sometimes people will recommend a product and they're like, oh yeah, this is good for $5, but then would they actually reach for that over any of the products that they already have in their collection? Because if you wouldn't, then it's probably not that good. Maybe I am being a little petty, I don't know. And kind of along the same pathway with just selling products, I feel like anytime there's just this like, you need this, you have to have this, you must run out and buy this immediately kind of vibes, it's a turnoff for me. For one, no product is just that cut and dry, like that it just is gonna work for everyone and you should just run out and purchase it right away no matter what. And I get that it comes from like a dramatic place where you're like, wow, this is really great. And maybe you're just really excited about the product. I get that. I feel like when it's me in that situation, my phrasing is more like, if you are already interested in this palette, if you really like this color story, then it's a really good one, or it's worth buying, it's a recommendation. But I don't know, I just try to personally stay away from the like you need to own this kind of vibes. And I don't know if that's true for my entire career on YouTube. I'm sure if you go back to when I was a little bit younger, I might have said something similar to that, where like, oh, you need this. And I think that was me just being a little bit naive and like not really fully thinking through what I was recommending. But I feel like now, a little bit more maturity, a little bit more experience with makeup, it doesn't sit right with me to make people feel like they need to buy something. Even if I'm being paid to talk about it, I still feel like I'm like, oh yeah, like I really recommend them. You can shop for them here, but I'm not like, you must go buy this. Especially when it's something expensive. Like I can see when it's like cheaper, it's like, wow, like this is affordable and it's amazing. Like it's the combo, like so good. I can see that a little bit more, but like, girl, if you're telling me that I need to buy a Pat McGrath palette, I don't know about that. I really hope that no one gets offended by this video, because it's honestly in good fun. Like, it's not that serious, and I'm sure that some of these things I'm talking about judging other people do, I have done. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is the Nabla Ozone highlighter. I haven't reached for this in so long. That is so beautiful. Anyways, another thing that just rubs me the wrong way is when YouTubers have that like, I'm not like all the other YouTubers kind of mentality, and they like talk about it a lot. I understand bringing up things and saying like, oh, like I have a different opinion about this, or here's how I view it, yada yada. But like when people are like, everyone else is lying to you and I'm actually here for you and you can trust me and I'm not like the other YouTubers, and I like, oh, like one thing is like when people, they don't do sponsorships, right? So they're like, oh, I'm more trustworthy. But it doesn't necessarily mean that. Like, just because you do sponsorships doesn't mean that you're not trustworthy. I'm sorry, y'all. My camera stopped recording and I didn't notice. But what I was saying is that I might have a different view of this than someone else, just because I do create content. So I could see maybe just from a strictly viewer view, it could be different. You might feel differently. It might be refreshing for you. I don't know. I would love to hear what you think. But that's just where I'm at with that. So just to catch you up on what I did off camera, I used the Lash Princess mascara from Essence just to throw on, you know, a little something something. I added the Ozone highlighter from Nabla onto my cheekbones, and it is so, so beautiful. But what's really just adding a little extra oomph to the cheek is that I pulled out the Natasha Denona Diamond Blush palette. So, so cute. And I used this pinky shade called Glow right here, just because I felt like my cheeks weren't vibrant enough and I just wanted a little something more. So let's go ahead and finish up. I have some lipstick. This is the Vive Cosmetics lipstick in the shade Pan Dulce. And I have one last thing to mention, which is a common one. I don't even know. I didn't add this to my list originally, but it just popped into my head and I feel like I should say it. So I judge people when they use filters. And I don't mean that exclusively, like if you use a filter ever, I'm not judging, like use it for Instagram, use it for TikToks, you know, whatever, as long as it is not a filter on a review. I feel like for a review, like you're showing the product and how it applies and how it wears and recommending it or not. I feel like filters just take a review that could otherwise be valuable and basically makes it worthless, just in my opinion. Like, not to offend anyone, but if I'm watching a video and I'm trying to decide whether to purchase something or not, I'm going to watch a different review and look for other sources before I decide whether I'm going to purchase that product. The nice thing about YouTube is that it is long form content, so it's a lot easier to tell if someone's using a filter or blurring their skin, because like if they like move or like use their hands or a product a certain way, it can like make a little glitch and that'll let you know. But I definitely feel like that can get frustrating on TikTok, and there's just a lot of filtered reviews going on there, and I'm just not about it. All right, y'all, so this is the finished look. I honestly love how it turned out, like just such pretty glowy skin. I love the eyeshadow look, that shade from the Glamorous palette. I almost just dropped it, but it is as beautiful as I thought it was gonna be, like such a stunning, soft, neutral eye look. So I'm really happy with it. Like, I didn't know how this was gonna go because like I said, I don't have any of my current staples, but it's still a beautiful look. I hope you enjoyed watching the video as much as I've enjoyed filming it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.